All right. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Cool Davis annual partner meeting. Tonight's focus is going to be on building resilient organizations. So thank you all for coming. It's a great crowd. It's good to see all the excitement, and even had a little difficulty getting people to sit down. So that's fantastic. So we're going to begin tonight with our land acknowledgement. I guess I'll just do this. So for thousands of years, this land has been the home of Patwin people. Today, there are 3 federally recognized Patwin tribes: the Quechua-Dihi Band of Wintun Indians of the Calusa Indian Community, the Quetzal-Dihi Wintun Nation, Yocha-Dihi Wintun Nation. The Patwin people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. It has been cherished and protected as elders have instructed the young through generations. We are honored and grateful to be here today on their traditional lands. And with that, just the agenda for tonight, we're going to spend between now and about 6:30 with our panelists here, and then we're going to have a Q&A from 6:30 to 7, a little breakdown, a little post discussion from 6:30 to 7. So our and then I think so I'll just quickly introduce everybody here. We have Brian Abbanat from Yolo Commute.
He'll be on video.
Oh, he's on video, right? He's on video. That's right. He's going to be our first panelist. Then we're going to have Jon Gemma from Aztec Solar, Bill Horbaly from Connected Technology, Larry Waters from Electrify Your Home, and Nathan from Greiner, Heating and Air, right there. And Nathan's going to talk about the power of being a partner with Cool Davis. And now we're going to go to, I think, Jason. You are up for a little discussion, so welcome. Jason, President of Cool Davis.
Thanks, Ken. Yeah, I'm the president of the board of Cool Davis. Pleasure to be here to see some new faces, some old faces, and to meet some of our partners that have been here for a while. I've been president for 2 years in June. Been on the board since 2020. So I'm just going to hit a couple quick things. Can everybody hear me okay? Do I have to get really close and low? We've been working really hard as an organization through Chris, but the board as well, thinking really long and hard about our future. We've been connecting with a lot of the partners that we have here, having conversations with community members, and we just finished in October our strategic plan for the next 10 years. So it's really quite an amazing accomplishment. Really proud of the board and the staff taking the time to really think through that and come together with a plan. Part of that is a new mission and a new vision. And I'll hit on a couple of those things here, and I'm sure the partners will weave that in as well. You can hit go ahead, next, thanks. Really what we want to slightly shift is really connect with our communities and really build up their resilience. And that takes partners, it takes community connection, it takes resources. Some people need more and some people need less, and it's a matter of connecting with them and understanding them and providing those resources. So that's going to be our focus really on our mission, is to build up that community resilience, continue focusing on the GHG piece. And our vision is going to change as well. We're going to be thinking beyond Davis and thinking of the region. And that's important for a couple things. One is, we're all in this together, right? We all need to support each other and find those resources and Davis is a part of the region, very important. We love Davis, but there's other communities that also need support. Just wanted to highlight those things and the shift, and really proud of where we're going as an organization. And with that, I'll give it back to Ken. Thanks.
All right, so this it basically shows the structure of the partners and the coalition organizations, how this greater body relates to Cool Davis, and including our partnership with the city of Davis. And then also within that, as we'll learn a little bit more about later, just in terms of the difference between a partnership and sponsorship, and then also the working groups, which are a subset of the coalition there. And so the question is, who is a partner? They're all different organizations out here today. There are faith community groups, there are nonprofits, the university and student groups, and then there's businesses, which we have represented here, and myself included. One of the great benefits of being a partner of Cool Davis is that we're able to support each other, learn from each other, and to help support our common goals here. Just in talking to Larry this before the event started, I learned something critical to our business, which was this power up thing with the span electrical panels that are allowing you to get more electrical appliances into the home, including the car chargers, without having to upgrade your service. So that's a huge benefit to me, and so that's just an example of how we can learn from each other. And also just I've been part of Cool Davis since 2010, I believe. So. And that our original mission as a company was to promote green building practices. It was very different back in 2003 when we started. Things have evolved, but it's becoming even more important and more urgent to get ahead of this and use these sustainable building practices, and so it's part of our core values as a company to support the community, and that's why I really feel like this is an important aspect of my business. So with that, my business? Mac Design and Build. Sorry, I should have explained that. Thanks. Yeah, so we do remodeling in Davis, and then also in the Sacramento area. And so we're working on things one home at a time, really. So our first video panelist is going to be Brian Abbanat from he's director of Yolo Commute and acting planning director of Yolo Transportation District. Some of you will recognize Brian as the former senior transportation planner for the city of Davis. Brian has served as the chair and currently former member of the Cool Davis Transportation Task Force since its founding in 2014. And then we have Jon Gemma, Vice President of Aztec Solar, which has been a partner of Cool Davis since 2011. Jonathan has spent time in various roles for Aztec Solar, developing a profitable solar business. His understanding of both residential and commercial markets encompasses marketing plans and budget, sales strategies for sales teams, development of commercial projects, IT network, CRM, and energy modeling programs, and integration processes. He serves on the Cool Davis Solar Campaign Task Force since 2016. And then Bill Horbaly, CEO of Connected Technology in Rockland, is new to partnering with Cool Davis since first participating in the EV at the Pavilion in 2022. They came back in 2023 and are one of our expert advisors behind the scenes answering questions to help with program design and our home energy and Ride Cool help desks. Larry Waters, the founder and owner of Electrify Your Home, has decades of experience in building energy management and retrofit. Today, he will cover what is happening now with building electrification, tools and resources for organizations seeking to electrify their buildings. He is a lead trainer for state tech programs, implementing new state rebates for building electrification solutions. Larry is also new in the last year to Cool Davis advising and partnering with us at neighborhood level. And Nathan from Greiner. Nathan, what's your last name?
Breedy.
Breedy?
Breedy.
Welcome. We'll be speaking, as I mentioned before, on the benefits of being a partner with Cool Davis. Greiner has been a partner since the second festival in 2011, just like Aztec Solar. They helped with the design of our Make a Plan home energy program and have served on Home Energy Task Force since it was formed in 2019. So with that, we are going to begin our first video from our first panelist.
Appreciate the opportunity to present to your members at your annual partner meeting. Sorry I couldn't be here in person, but I do appreciate being able to share what we as Yolo Commute have to offer our potential members, and it's good to just kind of spread the word out about Yolo Commute in general and what transportation demand management can do for a community. I thought I would start with a little bit of background information first, just about who we are and what we do. We are a nonprofit, membership-based organization whose goal is really to reduce single occupant or drive alone vehicle commute trips to places in Yolo County. We were incorporated in 1994, so we've been around for a long time, but we've still been, a small but mighty little organization. And we have a vision really to kind of extend our mission beyond just that single occupant vehicle commute into broader transportation demand management objectives. So there's lots of reasons why we think employers, residential complexes, commercial development projects, et cetera, would want to join Yolo Commute. They don't often, directly express this, but employees are always looking for ways to save money on their commute or to find alternatives to driving. Our transportation system makes it somewhat difficult for people to do that, but people are always looking for ways to save money. Transportation is an expensive component of any household's budget, and those alternatives are invariably money-saving opportunities for working people. Yolo Commute offers incentives and programs and resources that will help those employees, when they're members of Yolo Commute, to bridge that gap between the desire to find a different transportation mode to work and actually being able to follow through on that. This next bullet sort of references the DDBA because this slideshow was originally intended for them, so it was a carryover from that presentation, but it applies to any business really that we see membership in Yolo Commute as a business employee attraction and retention benefit that's meaningful to your employees through our incentives and programs that we offer. In many places, including those in higher density areas, if your commuters are not driving to work alone and occupying parking spaces, that makes parking available to paying customers and for those who need to visit your place of business for revenue generating purposes. And transportation demand management and Yolo Commute are actually critical components of not only the downtown Davis specific plan and the climate action plan, but those of all of the public agencies that are in Yolo County, including the City of Woodland, West Sacramento, Winters, Yolo County, et cetera. So really what we offer is compatible with the policy objectives that all of our communities have in Yolo County. So we offer many programs and incentives. One of our legacy programs is called the Rideshare Incentive Program, and we offer up to $80 for our member employees to switch from driving alone to work. So the way that works is, an employee would start by taking 10 trips with an alternative mode, and we offer them $30, and then the next 10 trips they make, we offer them $50. And the point there is to give more incentive on the back end for people to continue doing what they started doing, and then to build that into their regular everyday habits. We also offer a guaranteed ride home program, which ensures that people who are commuting to work by an alternative transportation mode have a way to get home in the case of an emergency. We make it really easy. They can take virtually any form of transportation they need to get home in that emergency, and they simply get reimbursed by Yolo Commute for that trip. And we make it really easy for people. They don't have to go to a prescribed taxi company or transportation provider. They don't need to use vouchers. Just go do what you need to do in that emergency, and we'll take care of you on the back end. We also offer more recently what we call our e-bike loan program. We have a fleet of 3 electric assist bikes, which you can see in these pictures. One of them is a well-equipped cargo bike. They're all very high quality bikes. And what we do is we will bring this entire fleet of bicycles to your place of employment, or to whatever our member might be, if it's an apartment complex, and you are able to then have your employees and your employee members get the opportunity to experience riding electric assist bikes in a low pressure, low casual environment on their own terms. This has been really successful, and a lot of our members have been, are very excited about it. We've had this launch for over a year now, and collectively our members have ridden these 3 bikes over 750 miles. So when they're available for people in a casual setting and they're visible, people like to check them out, and then that can motivate them to want to purchase their own electric assist bike. We also offer free bicycling education programming through Cycling Savvy. You just take the courses, we'll reimburse you for it. Helps to build confidence in your riding skills. We also offer a discount transit pass program. So through the generosity of Yolo Bus and Yolo Transportation District, our members are eligible for a 50% discount for a monthly pass when purchased through our Zip Pass application. It's really easy to access. You can just go on our website under the incentives tab and just navigate to it. Instructions are easy to follow. We can hook you up with a 50% discount. May's Bike Month is a huge regional event that we're excited to participate in, and our members can really take advantage of the incentives that we offer during May's Bike Month. We offer $100 for accessories or repairs, so forth, towards your bike, or you can you're eligible for up to $200 for a conventional bike, or up to $300 for an electric assist bike. As I said, this is hugely popular, and we've had 96 members in 2023 take advantage of this incentive program, and we gave away over $12,000 to our members. Part of what we're trying to do is build culture and interest towards more sustainable transportation, and also to remain engaged with our employer members. And so we offer monthly newsletters that get sent directly to our members, and we have regular social media postings on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And that helps keep us plugged in with our membership, and they can see the things that we're doing to help promote our mission. We also offer our commuting resources on our new website, which we just redesigned in the past year. So everything that you might want, all the information you might need to explore an alternative transportation commute and not driving alone, you can find on our new website. We also recently established a partnership with HMP Bikes, which is a Davis downtown-based business that has designed and manufactures their own electric mopeds that go up to 20 miles per hour. Our members receive a 15% discount on these electric mopeds or rentals of the moped. Also recently, with the launch of the Spin Scooter Share program in Davis and on the UC Davis campus, our members get special rates, and that includes up to, I want to say 500 minutes per month for $20 per month. And there are no unlock charges for our members. So it's a discount compared to a standard usage. And that's something that that the city of Davis was able to negotiate for Yolo Commute members as well. One thing we're really excited about in this upcoming year is prior to May's Bike Month, we'll be launching an e-bike lease or lease to own program with a company called Bicycle Mobility Services, which will be rebranded Lisa Bike. And this is really enables our members to reduce the financial barrier to accessing electric assist bikes, because there is they do tend to be more expensive, and particularly when you're looking at high quality bikes that you want to ride for a regular on an everyday basis. You need those bikes to be high quality, and you need them to be reliable. So what this program will do is allow people to to take delivery of an e-bike and sort of pay it to go, lease it to own it, or to just simply lease the bike in a fully serviced program. And so we also have a grant that we received from the for the Yolo Solano Air Quality Management District, and we'll be at launch. We'll be having a promotion that will offer discounts to the regular pricing for this program. So like I said before, businesses benefit from membership because, again, you can increase parking availability if your employees are not occupying parking spaces. Again, it's a tangible benefit for your employees from a business attraction and employee retention standpoint. It also shows that our members are trying to become part of the solution to the to the climate crisis that we find ourselves in, and not relying on others to solve it. We can all do our part. Membership in Yolo Commute and supporting Yolo Commute is more than just a symbolic exercise. It's actually being part of the solution. And it's really easy. This isn't a program that businesses have to administer themselves. You, by virtue of your membership, we do all the legwork. All we need from our members is to help us spread the messaging that we have and the announcements and the programs and incentives to their employees. And then that's all. The businesses don't need to do anything else themselves. For employees, we're helping connect people with transportation options, reducing their out-of-pocket costs, right? And we have meaningful incentives that resonate with employees that they want to use. And we have safety nets through our guaranteed ride program that allow people to confidently commute without driving alone to work, and knowing that they can get home when they need to. From a societal standpoint, transportation demand management programs such as those offered by Yolo Commute reduce traffic congestion and has environmental and sustainability benefits. So This slide right here just shows you your employees have those needs and options. Those transportation options exist. Yolo Commute membership bridges that gap. And Cool Davis is one of many leading employers that are already members of Yolo Commute. We've got Yolo County, we have Cache Creek Resort, City of Davis, UC Davis, Ken's Bike Skiing Board, CalSTRS, City of Woodland. Many organizations are members and enjoying the benefits of their membership. All right, and that concludes the the formal slideshow. Would love to talk to anybody in the audience more. If you do, you can feel free to contact us through our yolocommute.net website, or feel free to contact me or our program coordinator, Brenda Lomely, personally through our website as well. Thank you.
So that's our first panelist, and we do have a couple of folks from Yolo Commute here, so welcome. And later on, if there's any questions, we'll have a live people to answer those questions. And next on the list is Jon Gemma from Aztec Solar.
Thank you, Ken. So my name is Jon Gemma. I'm Vice President of Aztec Solar. We've been in business since 1980, doing residential and commercial solar photovoltaics and solar thermal projects. So we also do solar water heating and swimming pool heating as well, preheating. The owner of Aztec Solar, Ed Murray, he's currently the president of our Industries Association, as well as former chair in the Solar Heating and Cooling Division for SEIA, which is the national association. But Ed started here in Davis doing work for Village Homes. I'm sure everybody's heard of that Village Housing. But we did all the solar thermal systems for every single one of the houses and apartments in that development. So we definitely have close ties with the Davis community. And one of the many reasons why I partner and help Cool Davis as well. And it was said earlier how long we've been partnering, and look forward to many more years as well. Recently, November 1st, there was a California-German agrivoltaics conference is what they called it. So it was at UC Davis here, and we were proud partners and spoke at this event here. And the topics discussing the nexus between agriculture, energy, and water was a huge success. People from all over the world came to this conference to listen to all the different new technologies and how agricultural sites can utilize solar in different forms. There's a lot of new products out there, and I have a slide with a photo of one of our projects that we did that's new, up and coming. It's called a solar fence. There's a lot of pros and cons to it, but when your acreage is the livelihood and revenue, you don't have a lot of land to give up. So we're looking for ways that we could still save and not use as much land for those panels. So we'll go into that a little bit later. A lot of my discussion is going to be more on the regulatory side that help benefit going with solar projects. So one is the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act of 22. Huge investment that they were going to spend, the government was going to spend roughly $374 billion throughout the life of the bill. So not only, if you can see the slides there, for the next 9 years now, it's a 30% tax credit, and then we'll step down the years after. What this does is bring manufacturing to the United States. We're already seeing the effects of this bill being taken place. A lot of manufacturers are bringing their operations here to the United States. One is actually in Sacramento County. That was one of the first ones to start. And we use their modules called Solar for America, and they're built in North Highlands. Yeah, so that was part of the IRA Act, and for the reason for them to stay open. One of the big changes, we did have the ITC, and we had 30%, it went down to 26%, and this new IRA went back to 30%. One of the new differences is this called direct pay program. So before, there we go. Before, nonprofits would not be able to utilize the tax credit. You had to have a tax liability. Now this direct pay program allows nonprofits to utilize that tax credit. Yes, typically it would be a power purchase agreement, so you have no money down, but someone else takes the tax credit and gives you a small percentage savings. Now nonprofits can take advantage of all the savings and get the equivalent of the 30% tax credit. So you'd pay it up front, but then when it was time at the end of the year, you would get that 30% back. So it opens up a whole slew of different ways that nonprofits and schools can go solar without having to give up all the savings. So if you basically what a power purchase agreement, someone would take the tax credit, own it for a certain amount of years, and then give it back to the school. Other new items on the IRA are project siting. So not only the 30%, you can get an extra 10% tax credit adder for these four entities. One is energy communities, used to be brownfields, or any locations that are associated with fossil fuel companies. So included in this are Solano, and there are places in Solano and Sutter County that would fall under this category. So 30% plus the 10%, 40% tax credit. Low-income community addresses, there's a link on PG&E's website that shows this, and included in this would be Yuba County, as well as Indian land, and also residential housing programs under the Violence Against Women Act. Now it's up to 40%, but another way to get a 10% tax credit adder is to be able to use US made steel and manufacturing. So the materials that you're purchasing, either the solar panel manufacturers, if they are manufacturing here in the United States, they can provide a sheet showing that they comply, or all the steel, 100% of the steel and iron must be manufactured in the United States. Again, this whole continuation of the tax credit program is to be able to bring manufacturing back to the United States, and this is one way that they're going to incentivize that to happen. Another bright spot that takes a lot of planning and working with the state is Title 24. When you have new construction building, there's solar mandates and then battery mandates. This has been a huge opportunity to make sure that solar and solar battery storage is included in new construction. This could be for multifamily homes, office buildings, hotels. There are a couple challenges coming up in the future. A lot of them are with PG&E and CPUC. Existing net metering programs are changing. They have changed, and they will change in the future even more. What used to be a one-for-one credit that you could generate during the day, the solar, and give back the excess power to the utility company, now they will not give you a one-for-one credit. It is now a wholesale rate instead of a retail rate. There have been studies that have had and the discussions of the value of solar and what that value is, and a lot of going back and forth, and we've had a couple of years of that. But at the end of the day, the harder they make it, the increases of the rates keep going up. The argument for solar and battery storage gets greater. San Diego Gas and Electric is almost to $1 a kilowatt hour. They're at 83 cents right now. Probably a year away from you're going to see over $1 a kilowatt hour. And PG&E is not that far behind. Again, as prices go up, the argument for going solar and then battery storage is to keep the power that you generate to use for yourself. One of the changes is to virtual net metering and aggregated meters. So this is multifamily homes where you have multiple meters on the property. Before this aggregation or virtual net metering, you're able to have one system aggregate power and assign it to different meters. Now before, you take all the power that you generate and be able to assign it. You can do the same, but any excess going forward will be at wholesale rates if you send it back to the grid. So this is where battery storage is going to come into play so that you can keep that power and send it back to your meters when you need it the most. CPUC just approved that final decision. And so an application to PG&E in this territory would have to be before January 1st, submitted before January 1st to be able to take advantage of the old rates instead of going to the new ones next year. The AB 2143, is back to this is a prevailing wage law. So all commercial over 30 kilowatts are going to be required to submit for prevailing wages as well as certified payroll. So unfortunately, the costs of doing that are going to increase for customers. However, again, I go back to as long as these rates keep raising the rates that they are, PG&E just got approved for massive increases over the next 3 years. It still makes sense to go solar with battery storage. One way on Title 24 that we've been a big proponent of is solar thermal. For Title 24, solar thermal is part of those calculations. If you can take a minimum of 70% solar saving fraction, what that means is preheating hot water, if it's from a boiler, even if it's from an electric boiler as well. If we can preheat the water with solar panels, and we can offset a minimum of 70% of that, it is acceptable for Title 24 compliance. The reason we like this technology, it's been around for a long time. It's very efficient. So you look at differences of efficiencies. PV panels, right now, the highest ones are about 24% efficient, where solar water heating 70%. And less square footage on the roof, as well as being able to work in the winter a lot, right? So if you have an end temperature of say 120 degrees and we're able to get 90 out of the panels in the winter, even on cloudy days, we're preheating it before the boiler doesn't work as hard. Here are some samples of some of the solar hot water projects that we've done at multifamily homes here in town, and Title 24 requirements made these projects possible. Next slide. This one's an interesting one. This is from Yada Energy. On a flat roof, they've taken a battery that you can store underneath a module and keep it on the roof. One of the big limiting factors that we have is some buildings that need a lot of storage don't have place on the ground near the building to put batteries. There's a large footprint to be able to install these. This is an up-and-coming system where you can put the battery behind the panel, and it does a number of things. One, it makes the PV panel more efficient because it's attracting the heat on the offset of the panel. So the sun's going through, it's collecting through the panel. On the back end, there's heat. There's a thermal cooling system that's part of this battery that helps keep the battery cool as well as make that PV panel much more efficient. Very interesting product. We have them on a couple of our projects here. But very interesting way as batteries become more and more important, but the obstacles of location, this is one type of product that is going to become a norm. The only way that we like this, though, is that thermal cooling part. And the inventors of this product, that was the main selling point, was being able to make that battery cool, because you're putting a battery up on the roof where it's super hot. Next slide. This is the one that we did for a farm up in El Dorado County. It's a solar fence. Yes, it's straight up and down. And yes, most of the maximum output is at certain times of the day. But when you have very minimal space on land, the economics sometimes make sense. And for this particular farmer, and he lives on his property there as well, we were able to utilize it. And so it's another solution for customers that don't have a lot of space to give up or don't want to give up space. It's called a solar fence. So final takeaways, again, Title 24 mandates on all commercial buildings greater than 1 story with battery storage, as well as EV charging infrastructure has to be ready. There are sizing formulas that attribute to Title 24 to be able to comply with them, solar hot water being one of them. Also going with the prevailing wage laws that will start January 1st, as well as the extra incentives for the tax credit, 30% tax credit, and then the 10% adders for location or for US made materials, and also design considerations for maximizing that tax credit, as well as being not only for tax-paying entities, but also nonprofits as well. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next up is Bill Horbaly from Connected Technology.
Hi. So, boy, I sure appreciate the innovation that you guys are doing. Someday that will get down to where we can use it in our small company. We've been operating since about 2016, so I feel like a small child here, you know. My name is Bill Horbaly, and I'm the founder of Connected Technology. My background, I have a BA in Environmental Studies from UC Santa Cruz in 1982, so I like working in Davis. I feel a lot of, people here that have similar backgrounds. I don't know. And currently I'm working on an MBA from Jessup. I have multiple contractors licenses that allow me to be able to provide full services to folks. And initially we wanted to do a lot of connecting with a lot of technology, but we found that specifically electrical services are what seem to have the best impact, that we really enjoy the most. And so we're going to take this very advanced technology and we're going to connect it with homeowners when it becomes available. We really like to focus on simple out-of-the-box solutions that work well in residential applications. So we do a lot of EV chargers, we do solar, energy storage systems, energy monitoring, efficiency, surge protectors, lighting, but all residential electrical surfaces. So we really just focus on electrical. And we've done quite a bit in the last couple of years. We're family owned and operated. We have about 30 employees. But because we're small, I still like to talk about, we've been doing this for a little while, 2016. And one of the things that I've been passionate about is trying to provide good jobs for folks in the area. And we've just found that the electrical industry has been really, really valuable to help provide good jobs to a variety of people with a lot of different skills. And we like to support local charities too. We've serviced about 8,000 customers. We've done more than 3,200 residential EV chargers in the greater Sacramento area. We're pretty proud of that. We feel like that's made a pretty big impact in a lot of different ways. About 175 solar installations and 160 battery storage installations too. And those are not all related. Many times it's batteries for people who already have solar or solar with batteries. But now the norm is very much thanks to the changes in legislations that you've talked about, storage with batteries is very much a standard down. And we just opened a branch in Texas, so we're pretty excited about that. Hope to provide service in January. We do span panels and Tesla, and we were named Panasonic's Battery Installer of the Year last year. All kinds of fun things that we do, but the point is we really like to do things with excellence, and you can just zip through those next few slides that are pictures. Pictures of a while ago, pictures of different things we've done over the last few years. But battery storage systems, residential battery storage systems, solar, et cetera, a lot of EV chargers. One of the things, though, in wanting to do things the right way and do things well is that we want to be a good neighbor and, do things well and sustainably also. And so it was important to us to start to use electric vehicles in our fleet, too. And so we now have 6 electric vehicles in our fleet, and that's been kind of a fun and interesting transition. 4 of them are the Ford E-Transit. You'll see pictures of those in a moment. Those are just a service van that we're able to use. We have a Chevy Bolt and a Hyundai Ioniq 5, and I like the Ioniq the best out of all of them. How many of you have electric vehicles? Yeah, almost everybody, right? So you guys understand the impact, and so I think it's been really a fun and good thing to be able to incorporate them to our business as well. And I feel like it's a really good thing a business can do, and not with great difficulty with a few different areas to be able to support that. Go ahead to the next slide there. So there's a lot of reason for commercial battery electric vehicles to be able to use them within your business. So one of them is, we want to be a responsible, sustainable company. Our customers are expecting us to be a sustainable company, and so we can help meet their expectations of the kind of companies that they want to hire. It builds immediate rapport with our customers. They see this big van drive up and they say, wait, that's an electric van? And yeah, that's an electric van. And then we get to talk about electric vehicles, and it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of interest. Obviously, environmental responsibility, it helps us to do that. We feel like it's good for our community. It definitely sets us apart from our competition in a lot of ways, and it also improves employee morale. Our guys really like their electric vans. There are some inconveniences that we can talk about, but they really like to drive them. And the guys that don't have the electric vans are jealous of the guys who do have them, and on and on. So we're gonna, as we continue to improve our fleet, we're gonna buy more electric vans. One of the things about that, before you change that slide, is that, and it might just be in newer vehicles, but there's a lot of safety features in the electric vehicles that I haven't seen with the comparable gas vehicles too. I mean, just simple things like cross-traffic check and more cameras and bigger screens, but it just seems like with the electronics that are built in with the battery electric vehicles come these safety features too. And so it helps protect my employees a little bit better too, and the general public. So that's been really valuable also. But the biggest reason really is financial. We have found some significant financial savings. So the range for our E-Transits is about 100 miles, which works really well for us because our technicians rarely will drive more than 100 miles a day. They take them home, they charge them at their homes at night, and fortunately, and on purpose, the technicians that I have that drive the E-Transits, they live in SMUD territory. And so the SMUD electrical rates are quite inexpensive, And per van, when gas is $5 a gallon, we save about $600 a month on fuel per vehicle. So it's a considerable savings if you're already going to buy a new van, right? If you're not going to buy a new van, that savings may not be there, but it's a significant savings for us. Now, for PG&E, it's not as significant. So I live in PG&E territory. The driver who has the Bolt lives in the PG&E territory, and the savings isn't as large. And for most of you who know that, your primary motivation for buying an electric vehicle probably isn't financial. But there is some financial benefit there. And of course, as you know, the maintenance savings are significant as well. So when you have a fleet of vehicles and you're continuing, even at the same age vehicles, we're putting a lot more time and money into our gas-powered vehicles than we are to our battery electric vehicles. And we can use that time and money for other things as well. So not having to maintain vehicles. So it's pretty good. So we have a few photos, but we have been invited twice to bring our electric vans to the Davis Electric Vehicle Car Show, just because it's kind of an unusual thing. You'll see a couple of pictures there of us at the car show, but they're regular full-size vans. You know, our guys are able to load up all their materials, do everything that needs to be done, and it works really, really well for us. Mercedes is coming out, or actually is out with the that's the cheesecake photo, right? That's the one I like the best there, in the car and the photo. But the range is a little bit of a limitation. We're going back and forth as to whether or not we want to do an electric van in Texas as we begin service there in January, because the infrastructure is not as built out in Texas, obviously, and so the 100-mile range is a little bit tough to be able to do that. Right now, if my guys have a long day, there are multiple places that they can stop, recharge for 20 minutes. They got to take a lunch anyway. They're able to continue the rest of the day. It works pretty well. So we're looking at the eSprinter in Texas, which has a 240, 260-mile range, and that would be practical for a situation where there isn't as much electric vehicle charging. It's a significant increase in price, though. We are able to get our e-transits for around the $50,000 range. The e-Sprinter is starting about $70,000. And so it's a significant pricing difference. And so we're really considering how to do that. But the point is that there is, as a business, there are a lot of opportunities through electric vehicles, as well as energy efficiency, great battery storage and solar to be able to perform a more sustainable and even a financially beneficial business, one that connects with your customers and your customer expectations better. So I'd be happy to answer more questions about the vehicles later too. So very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's great stuff. Very inspiring. All right, next, Larry Waters, Electrify My Home.
I didn't come with a fancy slideshow. I apologize. So you're going to have to watch my hands move because that's the way I talk. So, I'm a little younger than your company. We just actually started 4 years ago, but I do have 42 years in the trade, as you can tell by the crow's feet, right? So I do have some actual customers in this room, and I'm really proud to see you here. We love working in Davis, and we love being part of Cool Davis. We've been here a short time, and our company is 100% home electrification is what we do. We design complete electrification projects for our customers. We will come in and look at all your gas loads and figure out your pathway to full electrification and help you get there without making any bumps in the road or doing things in the wrong order, that sort of thing. So what we have found in our brief 4 years in business is that there's a massive market for this right now. I've been installing heat pump systems since 2015. I'm a building performance guy, so we were doing building science jobs on houses 10 years ago, and we found that once we made a house nice and tight and got some good insulation in there, that I couldn't find a furnace that was small enough to heat most of the houses. So I really transitioned into doing these sweet little inverter heat pump systems that we do, and we go the extra mile when we design these systems. We do load calculations and figure out what size system you actually need, put the right size system in that's going to be the lowest energy possible. We had a recent project that we did here in town, and it included a span panel, which you had mentioned, And we wanted to let you know now we have the ability with the span panels to actually cap the energy usage to the service in your home. So this particular house got a upgrade of a electric range and 110 volt plug-in heat pump water heater and a low energy central heating and cooling system heat pump. And we were able to get all that in on a 100 amp panel with the use of a span and the new Power Up app. The way the Power Up app works is we can tell the span panel what your maximum load is on your house, and you make a couple of decisions when we set it up. This customer opted for not being able to dry their clothes if they were cooking 5 things on the stove. But so if your house comes up to close to the maximum current draw, which very few houses do, we've seen a lot of research studies that show that 88% of the houses in California never reach half of the capacity of their 100 amp panel, so we know that. So this particular customer, if they do have a event in the house where they're using more energy than the 100 amp panel will survive, it will just make sure that they don't run the dryer or slow down one of the other loads. These also have, and he mentioned it briefly, they also have the span drive car charging system, which will automatically throttle the car charger back and forth depending on your load in your house. So those are really good for these projects too. So a typical project for us is a heat pump water heater, which if you have water heaters right now that are nearing the end of their life, there's never been a better time than right now to invest in a heat pump water heater. They're doggone almost free. So everybody loves a free water heater, right? Especially one that's going to work and not cost you much to operate. So the incentives around the federal incentives from the IRA, as well as some statewide incentives. And I know Davis doesn't really get the benefit of a lot of the incentive programs that go throughout the rest of the state because it's in Yolo County or for whatever reason. These incentives are available all across the whole state, and they can represent over $7,000 of offset costs if you want to upgrade to a heat pump water heater. So never been a better time to do that. Also, we're really going far with this IRA program. If anybody's thinking about maybe putting a heat pump in their house and you really want to wait till the big rebates kick in, sometime around Q2 this coming year, those rebates are going to kick in. Those are going to be instant rebates from $4,000 to $8,000, depending on where you are financially in your life. And there's a lot of opportunity there to help offset the cost for electrification. So there is some good news behind electrifying things now, other than it's just going to cost me a fortune and I'm doing something good for the environment. But there's actually going to be a way for the average person to be able to afford all this stuff. So we also have some great plans available that can help you afford the things if you're into that. I'm thinking right about now that I should have brought some slides with some of my pictures in them so I could have shown you some cool pictures. But the heat pumps are about this big and they kind of sit outside and they're really quiet, if you can picture that in your mind. The energy use with the heat pumps we install is always going to be the least amount that you can get because we do actually do a bit of engineering on your home before we start and make sure that we're putting in the right size system for your home. That's terrifically important. There's always been heat pumps in the world. And I've been 42 years in this business and I really didn't like heat pumps when I was younger because they didn't work very good. They were really loud and they just didn't keep you that warm. So with new technology, we've been able to kind of get away from that. On the outskirts of town, in every town, there's people that have heat pumps because the gas lines don't reach out that far. These are not those heat pumps. These are heat pumps that can give you as comfortable or more comfortable home than the gas appliances we're taking out. But they have to be engineered. We have to know what size they are. And you most definitely want to make a plan for electrifying your whole house so we don't make one bad decision that ends up costing you a lot. We have a customer in the Bay Area that we did this last year. And he talked to a company that came out, a traditional HVAC company. They made some recommendations for a heat pump system. He put in a system that was much larger and more capacity than he needed for his home because they didn't use the calculations. They didn't do those things. They upgraded his electrical panel to fit the new heat pump in. When he called us for the heat pump water heater and the circuit for the range, we said, not enough room in your new panel, so he had to get another electrical panel a year later. So it's really important that when you're going to do these electrification projects that you start with somebody that's going to plan you all the way through. There are a lot of companies out there that are more and more companies out there that are taking more interest in doing this properly. So There's a little bit better shake of getting it done now than there used to be, but really somebody that's going to take the time, walk you through the process, and give you a plan for the whole thing is really what you want to look for home electrification. If you own a business, there's currently some incentives available as well if you want to put a heat pump water heater in your business, as long as it's a small business. If you own a factory, sorry, there's nothing for you, but small businesses, as long as there's one water heater that serves one electric meter, then you're fine. There's some great incentives there. And so the outlook has never looked better. At 42 years in the business, I can tell you that the incentives have never been better. We're really at a point right now where it's going to be more affordable. And when I say more affordable, I don't mean pre-pandemic affordable. Like, all the equipment costs and everything went up through the period of time, and the inflation has hit. So equipment is more expensive than it used to be. It's not an inexpensive proposition to do, so you only want to do it once, so you should do it with somebody that's going to plan it out for you. So that's Electrify My Home's mission. We do everything that we can to make sure that your electrification project is going to be as successful as possible, and your system will be sized for your house. That's kind of our story. Thank you for letting me share.
All right, thank you very much. And last up, Nathan from Greiner.
Save the exciting one for last. I have no slideshows either. Check, check. I don't even have anything to read off of, so I will make this a little short. I'm Nathan with Greiner Heating, Air, Electric. I've been with the company about 24 years. Started out, we were mainly just a heating and air conditioning company. And when you're doing heating and air conditioning units, you start to realize that there's more in your home that affects the energy and everything else. I think it started out with us mainly with duct systems. There was codes that came out many years ago that required duct testing, where we had to pressurize the ducts, and no longer could a company come in and just swap out your unit, walk away, and then find out that half the air is leaking up in the attic. So they had to start sealing the ducts. So you start looking at other parts, duct system, then you start looking at the insulation in the attic, how tight the house is, and really you find out that the house is a system. You can't just do one thing and expect everything to be all right. I can put the world's greatest heating and air conditioning unit in your home. If I hook it up to a duct system that's not delivering air, it's not going to perform. If there's not insulation in the attic, it's going to come on, heat up, it's going to cool down real fast, and you're just going to be on and off, back and forth. So we started looking at it as a system. I think Davis early on had a rebate towards sealing ducts and pressure testing and that kind of thing, and that definitely helped transition. And I think that's where Cool Davis kind of comes into a lot of things too as well, just being that advocate in the community that helps homeowners. All these things cost extra money. I can't replace the heating and air system and seal the ducts and take care of all this for the same price that I did the system before. I have to raise the costs up. To offset that, there's all kinds of programs going on, and I think that's really where Cool Davis, in partnering with them, just helped to make everybody aware of all of this, and then that made our phone ring. So you go through the building sciences, and yikes. All right, much better. So as the years went on, and I started out as a technician, I do the sales too as well, but when I go into people's homes, I would tend to show them the energy savings of what their old unit was versus what the new system was. And as I was doing that one day, I came across a customer that was actually doing solar, not with anybody here, but was doing a solar system, and they had quoted him a certain number of panels based on how much power it was going to do. And I started thinking, the wheels started turning, and I started thinking, hey, if I can actually save them energy in the first place, maybe they don't need quite as many panels anymore. And that can kind of offset that. So that got us into the solar industry. And we kind of just become a whole home company that just does heating and air, heat pump water heaters, electrification, solar, all that kind of good stuff. But I think it was really you start out as a company, as a person, just in general, you think of just one individual little thing, hey, like an air conditioner or windows in your home or whatever else it is. And I think thinking of it as the big picture, which is where Cool Davis again comes into play, is hugely important. They go out and advocate for government programs, and I live in Vacaville myself, so I don't live here in Davis. We don't have any type of group that's like this, so I would love to have a group in my neighborhood that actually does something like this. You guys are very fortunate to do that. Early on, Chris and several of the other people got a hold of me and wanted me to come in and kind of give them a breakdown of how we go about business and where does our advertising go and everything else. And they just seem very into wanting to make things better. And I just want to say I appreciate you guys for going that far and doing that. I really don't have much else to say other than just thank you guys for everything that you do. Cool Davis is a great group, and I would definitely advocate to be a member of them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of overlap in our various businesses, but I feel like this is a great supportive environment, and there's so much work out there, and it's just making each of our businesses better. So I feel like I've learned a ton tonight, and I want to thank everybody. Thank Chris for bringing us all together. And also I want to thank Kelsey for bringing the snacks tonight. Thank you, Kelsey.
There's some left, and we've got some pastry bags if anybody needs a cookie to go.
All right, yeah.
Questions, right?
Yes, we are. Not yes. So we have I think we're at what 20? Yeah, we have about 20 minutes for questions. So I'll just open the floor. Does anybody have any questions for any of our panelists?
What kind of programs do you have for low-income people to be able to electrify their homes and be able to take advantage of all these new technologies, but we don't have the money?
I can answer that. I mean, right now, the beginning of Q2 of next year, there's going to be an income-based federal incentive that's coming down. That is, if you're 80% or lower than the average income of your zip code, then you can qualify for an $8,000 instant rebate on a heat pump system. And then there's also tax credits around that if you're in that position that you are actually paying federal taxes as well.
But that's the rebate with $8,000, but what is the system cost? Because I'm talking about people who don't have that kind of money.
Well, there's a lot of programs through the state right now if you qualify. If you qualify, there's low LMI programs that are going on right now that you can sign up for, that you can get the projects done almost completely free. You just have to sign up with the state for those particular programs. We can get you some more information about that.
Am I right, Larry? You're talking about the financing as well, right?
Well, there's financing, and then there's also state-sponsored programs for low to moderate income that they'll actually pay. You have to qualify, but they will actually pay to get your home electrified. Those programs are coming down the pike right now. As a matter of fact, the state has set aside almost $1 billion for that. So it's there. And there's also weatherization programs that are income dependent where you can get insulation, duct sealing, and that sort of thing done. Those are going to move over to the actual installation of equipment as well. We can get back with Chris with some links for that.
I was just going to add to that, financing. There's definitely some subsidized loans out right now. Interest rates are not good for most people, just trying to get a regular personal loan. So there are some actually government subsidized loans through some local banks that we can set you up with too as well, that are better than any home equity line of credit or anything else in terms of their interest rate and stuff. There are some 0% loans, but 0% loans I don't think a lot of people understand, for the vast majority of them, they actually charge the contractor or the merchant to give you 0% financing. So anytime you see somebody with 0% financing in general, not always, there's going to be some costs associated with that. So with these new government subsidized loans, there's actually no cost to the contractor themselves. So there's no, little chunk of money kind of stuck in the side for it. But that's what I would advocate for a low income person. I mean, there are some small programs where you can get the vast majority or most of it paid for, like the heat pump water heaters, the big one right now. But as far as a heating and air conditioning system, no, you're not going to get it just paid for you all. You're just going to have to find out an affordable way to afford it.
Do you guys do PPAs?
Sort of.
Yeah, we don't. One option for solar, we don't do it at our company. He doesn't do it at his company. He doesn't do it at his company. But one option for solar is something called a power purchase agreement. And actually the installer owns the equipment that they're putting in your house, which is why we don't do it, and maybe why others, because but it works very well for people who don't have the money to pay for a system. And basically you're purchasing the power from the company that owns the solar on top of your house. So you get the environmental benefits, you get a drop in your utility bill immediately, and there isn't any money out of pocket. But you don't get the value added to your house, you don't get the tax benefit. There's other things that you lose, but you do get the environmental and energy savings immediately. And they'll do them for battery storage now as well. So you can get solar and battery storage. So
There is one program that we do offer. It is a prepaid lease, but the problem with the leases are they're 20 long-term, 20 or 25 years. But there are a lot of off-takers for tax credits. So one is a prepaid lease, but it's only 6 years, and you can opt out, and it's yours after 6 years. So you get the benefits of 80% instead of the 30%. You get an automatic 80% that you pay instead of the 100%. So if it was $30,000, you're only paying 80% of that. You don't pay the tax credit, but it is for some people that just can't take the tax credit, but also don't want to be signed into a long-term agreement. So there are people that need to take the tax credit and can use it, and then the cap is 6 years, and then you opt out of it and you're done. So there are programs other than those traditional leases that are out there that are available.
I also want to remind you, don't forget it, but we do have the Yolo Commute staff here, so if you have any questions for them.
I had a question. You all are coming at it from a slightly different angle in terms of electrification, that being a critical infrastructure. Is there an association, a certain license? Is there something that a consumer should be looking for in terms of the integrity of the person who's coming in to make a claim that they're going to be able to size the system correctly, look at all the different appliances, look at your electrical loads, and actually come up with an answer that is going to last you? Is there something out there that's actually something that a consumer can look for?
Certification, is that what you're looking
A certification, an association. You all are clearly advanced in the art of applying the craft. Is there something you're developing?
For us, it's Building Performance Institute, BPI. They're the national company as far as heating and air, building sciences, that type of thing. That doesn't really encompass solar, but it does encompass load calculations, insulation, air sealing, and that sort of thing. Be great if there was something that incorporated both building science and the electrical side. To my knowledge, I don't know one that encompasses everything altogether.
BPI is the one that you can look for that's going to give you a fair shake on somebody that's going to understand your home when they come in and be able to apply these things correctly. Electrification in California is a very recent movement, and nationwide, people are trailing us. Other than the state of Maine, I don't know if anybody understands, but the state of Maine actually has more heat pumps than any other state in the United States per capita. And it's really cold up there, right? So heat pumps work even when it's cold if they're done right. But there will be other things coming out in the future, but we're really in the fledgling time of this whole electrification movement. And there is a site that you can go to called theswitcheson.org or .com, I believe. And they have a nice listing of contractors that are at least a little savvy about it, but you're still going to have to do your due diligence and find somebody that's going to do it. If we have like a 10 rule list that we give to people that inquire with us that are out of our service area of the questions you should ask a contractor to really narrow it down. But as far as that goes, there's not a certification yet for it, but it's got to be on its way.
I don't necessarily have anything to add except that one of the things that we do all the time, whether we're adding a solar system or we're doing electrification or an EV charger, is just a simple load calculation, and it's required by NEC, but it's a National Electric Code, but it's a basic document that can be proven. It's surprising how many customers do not ask to see one. They trust that we're performing them and we're providing them. Not every jurisdiction asks for them. We do them, when you pull your building permit, not everyone asks for them. We do them all the time, for every job. We feel that's important. But as a consumer, you can at least ask to see the load calculation that's been performed.
I would just add, it was very important, one of the topics or comments that was said, and the big thing at the end of the day, reduce before produce, right? Is look at all the options you have, the cheaper ones that are going to be able to reduce your load before you go solar. It's really important. So that Bay Area customer that you had, they added too much, and they probably could have saved a lot of money. So yeah, reduce before you produce. Solar is what we do.
And I'll just add, that's part of that making a plan process that Cool Davis really promotes with households and any organization, is that planning ahead for the death of your appliances and for the electrification of your home, if you take time to do that. We also have a lot of planning documents on our website as resources for households and organizations. Were there any other questions?
I'm curious if y'all have any recommendations for renters.
I would say actually most of the rebate programs that are going on are actually totally open to renters. The ones that you'll run into a problem with are federal tax credits. Those are almost always for primary residences with homeowners that live in them. But a lot of the rebate programs, you've heard us say it multiple times here, the heat pump water heater program going on, that is totally open to renters. They just, whoever's paying for, initially you can get them to sign over the rebates, through the thing. But whoever the PG&E bill's name is, you just have to have all your paperwork set up. But renters are actually included in most programs.
We're just not the ones buying the line.
Yeah, so you have to work with your owner.
There are things that you can do inside your own home, whether you rent it or own it, to reduce your energy use, like LED light bulbs and just the low-hanging fruit things. You can also, do you live in an apartment complex or like a rental house?
It's a duplex.
It's a duplex. Is your landlord, do you know your landlord, or are they you do? So you need to guilt them into this, right? We need to bring them down here and hear the attributes and understand. So the thing about electrification in California is if we don't take advantage of it now, we're going to miss the incentives. And the only incentive to do it is so that we can heat or eat. Because gas prices are going to get so high in California that you're going to have to make that choice, right? People that are out, that have no control over it. And so they're going to eventually, everyone is going to have to electrify in California. The best thing to do is do it now while there's carrots, not wait till later when it's all sticks.
solar, and a number of years ago, I was in Costco, and you could buy one solar panel and plug it in to your house. And so how does that work? Not that I want a solar panel for camping, but I'm just curious.
Is your question for EVs or homes?
I'm sorry?
Is your question for EVs or homes, electric vehicles or houses?
Well, I have in front of my front door, it's a weird, it's like this, and I would love to just, I was interested in just buying a couple solar panels and putting them across so that the rain doesn't come down. But then there are gutters that go around. But then I was gonna buy one or a couple at Costco, and it said, all you have to do is just plug them in to your house. I don't understand how the technology, but they no longer sell them.
So typically, RV owners will buy one or two, maybe 3 or 4 panels, but it is connected to an inverter and a battery system.
Oh, okay.
So that's how you're powering during the day, that battery system, and you can pull from that power. Yeah.
And also, I think in India, they have cars with a solar panel
Mhm.
on the roof that
Powers a little bit of it. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Cuts it down a little bit.
I would like to add that if you do have solar on your house, it is the best way to power your electric vehicle, right? The cheapest way to power your own car is with the power that you produce yourself, it's a good way to go. Now, the size of that system is going to vary on how much you drive, right? But that is the least expensive way to power your vehicles, is with the electricity you produce.
You can also, with EVs, get into different rate schedules. They allow you to get into the different rate schedules. So if you're charging at night, you'll have lower rates. Okay.
All right, do we have any other questions? Any questions from an organizational perspective? Any questions for our Yolo Commute staff?
Yeah, I have a question for Yolo Commute. If you wanted to start a transportation demand management program, what's the process? How can you help us?
This is Brenda.
Are you saying like an entire nonprofit?
No, I'm talking about my business, and you're going to come in and help us manage our employees commuting to work.
Wonderful. So you just call me, and I will go to your organization and kind of give you, the PowerPoint that Brian basically provided for you. And then you just join and pay your fee. Like Costco, you just pay a fee, and then you have all the incentives that you want that he actually showed. So we have great incentives. The hot commodity right now are the e-bikes. We have a waiting list, and usually it's, every 3 months an agency gets it, and their employees are able to tap in and go out there for their lunches, take it for the weekends. So that's a huge hot commodity right now. But even the trip program, being able to change your mode of transportation either by carpooling or using public transit and receiving up to $80 for 10 trips, or just changing your mode of transportation or your habits. So again, it's a lot of really awesome incentives to continue to retain your employees. It's also like, when you're kind of hiring, it's like, hey, I know that a lot of young folks are really into, reducing the footprint, and so it's an awesome thing. So please join. Do you have another question, Ken? We'll be keeping in touch. We'll see his name next year on the board.
I have a question for Yolo Commute. Is there a nonprofit discount for membership?
There is not, but there is a scale of based on employees. Yeah, unfortunately, no, because we're a nonprofit, and this is how we stay alive.
All right, anybody else?
I have a question for Bill.
All right.
So, Bill, you have the electric vans,
We have electric vans.
and you install Tesla batteries. Would it be possible? Can you put a Tesla battery in the van and charge it simultaneously as you charge the van, and then charge the van up with the Tesla battery? What would stop you from being able to do that?
Software.
Okay. That seems like the easiest part.
So have you seen the new Ram Unlimited electric vehicle?
No.
It has a generator built into it.
Okay.
You haven't seen that?
No.
That's Dodge's solution for
But
unlimited range in your electric
I have
vehicle.
seen the old Toyota RAV4s that were towing the generator behind them.
Right.
I've seen a lot of those. That seems like an interesting way to go. So what would stop that? Because the battery, it's an AC connected battery.
Yeah, so it's so Tesla Powerwall is a 13.5-hour battery, 4-watt-hour battery.
And that van's like 85.
It gets quite a bit more.
Oh, okay, got it. So that would only get you back from lunch.
You need 10.
Okay, got it. You need 10 of them.
No,
We're done. Okay.
Got it.
All right. I think that is it, right? Anybody else? All right. It's snack time, and thanks again to everybody for coming. And thank you very much to our panelists for your time and energy.